there's nothing to be afraid of. Okay,
Right.
so just I think if you relax,
That's kind of her place.
and seriously, if you just relax and just stay calm about everything, that she might. I can't promise you anything. So I think if you stay calm about it and don't think too much on it,
Right.
that she may just show up.
Okay, well, the house was built in 1910, so there's a lot of history here. This house was built by the governor's brother, the first governor of the state. Now, this house was built in 1910. It wasn't even a state until 1912. So 3 brothers lived right on these corners. This house was built first. They all built it together, lived here while they built the other house across the street, and then now, so they all helped. It's like the 3 pigs kind of thing. So anyway, they lived here for many years in a lot of families. A lot of people were born here. A lot of people died here. They sold the place in the 50s. And they sold it to a family who lived here for just a few years, who resold it and then got resold again. So it's sold and bought a few times. But it ended up turning into a boarding house for ASU. So a lot of ASU kids lived here. And in 1966, this room was a rented room by the week or the month, I'm not exactly sure. But all these rooms were, and they had padlocks on them, and they were furnished and stuff like that. Well, the girl that lived in this room, her name was Sarah. Sarah was working her way through ASU, and this guy became very attached to her. And so the story goes is it was like, oh, I want you to be my one and only, you're the girl for me. And she's like, just leave the money on the dresser and go. Don't come back. So he strangled her right here where I'm sitting. She was very white-skinned, very black-haired, and I know 35 people that have seen her.
Favorite ghost story of all time at Casey Moore's. I'm going to say 10 years ago, I was working with Gavin downstairs, and right about last call, we both saw somebody walk up the stairs, right out of our peripheral vision, and Gavin asked me if I saw somebody walk up the stairs, and I told him yes. And he said to me, he says, well, go up and tell her to come down. He saw a girl too. So I came upstairs, walked up the stairs, and I walked into the blue room over here and stood in the doorway. And there was a girl standing over in that back corner there where there used to be a closet. And I stood in the doorway and I said, excuse me, I need you to come downstairs with me. We're getting ready to close. She doesn't move. I said, really? I need you to come downstairs with me. We're getting ready to close. I need to get downstairs. You need to come with me. She doesn't say a word. I start to step into the room. Get about halfway into the room and I reach my hand out to her. And I said, really, I need you to come with me. Just take my hand and come with me. And I got about a foot from her and she just dissolves right in front of me. And I just kind of exhaled, was like, nice. Walked back downstairs and Gavin said, is she coming down? Was somebody up there? I said, sorta.
I think the story that I've talked about before was when the first night I actually saw the spirit. And basically what happened was, in the way we used to close the bar the old way was there were 2 people in the house. It was myself and the other bartender, Randall. And he was downstairs. He would never come upstairs by himself. He hated the fact that there was a spirit up here. He would never deal with it in any way, shape, or form. If he had the choice, he didn't like to come up here for change. So I was up here doing the money as I would normally do at night, at the end of the night, and I could hear him downstairs in the kitchen. We used to have, the way the keg room was set up was we used to have to drag kegs across the kitchen, so I could hear the kegs being dragged, so I knew where he was. But I was in the office and I had my back to the door. And it was one of those things where I'm counting money and I thought, boy, there's somebody behind me. And I sort of turned and looked over my shoulder. And sure enough, there in the doorway was this white shadowy figure that had been talked about, that I'd heard about for about 3 or 4 years, but had never seen. And I thought to myself, my goodness, I just saw the ghost. I mean, for the first time, I knew what I had seen. Did I ever need anyone to tell me what I had seen? No, because I knew I had seen it. And there it was, clear as day. And I thought, my God, I just saw the ghost for the first time.
I used to just leave. But then after that happens to you a whole bunch of times, you stand your ground. So I've changed my strategy over the years. I watched an episode of Sightings of How to Get Rid of Your Pesky Poltergeist. And it says, when you get that creepy, weird feeling, stand your ground, don't run, tell the entity, go to the light you've been seeing is where you belong. There's people there that love you. You're dead. We have kind of a relationship after all these years, her and I. And but I just leave the money on the dresser.